Hey everybody, welcome to Take the Black Live, the one and only show on the internet that dares to talk about things like Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, fantasy, sci-fi, Star Wars, Dune. The only one!
The only one.
I can't believe we're the ones who thought about this.
I feel so special.
We're definitely trailblazers. Anyway, thanks for coming up, everybody. It's been a week. It's been a hectic week. Mia, how was your 3-day weekend?
It was very relaxing. I went out to do some stuff with my family, saw Sonic movie. I was really excited. And now it's kind of like went downhill because I'm feeling a little sick today. So
I'm sorry about that.
If I seem loopy at all or anything, you know what? Anything goes today.
Maybe you'll have some kind of extraordinary insights born of being kind of in a drugged out mad haze.
Ooh, let's see. We've got time.
We do. Anyway, I thought we'd just dive right in. There's a bunch going on, as always. Always things happening in the world of fantasy, sci-fi, all that stuff. I thought we'd talk about one of, which, by the way, The Witcher is still, according to Parrot Analytics, which is this analytics firm that is always having these news reports about it.
Okay.
It is still the world's most in-demand program, like around the world, like all these months afterwards. And I just, good for it, good for you. And we're getting news about the cast, we're getting news about the new season coming out later this year or early next year, perhaps. And one of the things was they are drafting a Game of Thrones veteran into their ranks. Kristofer Hivju, who we interviewed for Wick, by the way.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he was really cool. Remember Tormund Giantsbane?
Yes.
Big old bearded wildling guy. He has a face for fantasy, doesn't he?
He does. I think that's kind of what probably lends himself to the casting. That and, I mean, just being in Game of Thrones, it's kind of like, you know, like not one of the most prominent members of the cast, but it's kind of like, you know, just
like
enough
a
for him to
fan
cross
favorite.
over.
He is like a perfect fan favorite example. And actually, The Witcher, I remember early on, it said like, I thought this was stupid at the time. It said, we're not going to cast anyone from Game of Thrones, like when they first doing the first season. And I was like, well, it employs two-thirds of Hollywood. That's going to be hard for you.
Yeah,
and I guess all these
luck.
perfect actors. I thought it was a really dumb thing to say when they did it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, The Witcher in the first part, I think, like, had a problem where it was like, we're clearly kind of being made in Game of Thrones shadow, but don't treat us like Game of Thrones because we're different. It's like, who are you fooling?
Yeah, who are you fooling?
Like, just embrace. It's fine. Just go with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like DC or Marvel swearing like, oh, we're never gonna cast somebody else from that, you know, the opposite franchise. And it's like clearly there has been a lot of crossovers. So just, you know, sit back, let it happen, let them be two separate entities, The Witcher and Game of Thrones.
And that's fine.
You know, yeah.
I mean, if you have expertise in this kind of show, why wouldn't you want to like leverage that?
Yeah.
And again, face for fantasy, that guy. Big old red beard. He just looks like a handsome troll. The mythical
I think the
troll.
beard, the beard, whole lot of beard and a whole lot of hair. I think that'll get you cast. So if you're looking to be cast in The Witcher or on Netflix, grow a beard and grow your hair out.
Sure, says he'll make a good Witcher. He's actually playing a Beauty and the Beast type beast. And I remember some short story from the first book. They did cast two of the other Witchers. I could talk all about.
Yeah.
So I believe that you never.
The Witcher is like way beyond anything that. Yeah. But I'm open to talking and hearing about what happened.
We may have to because I mean, like, I think it's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be here.
It's starting to look like it.
They're going to force me to enjoy this.
I'm not forcing you to enjoy it. I'm going to force you to watch it.
Yeah.
Very different things.
Two different things. That's true.
But yeah, good for him, and I hope they keep on hiring Game of Thrones actors because why not?
Yeah.
Some comments. Hello from the UK, says Louise. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Diane. Hey, Julie. Of course. Diane Newman says, hi, you guys. I didn't get to see Outlander because Comcast dropped Starz channel. I did hear about that.
WTF.
That was happening. That is very unfortunate. We saw Outlander a little early because they dropped it on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was like
2 days
wow.
before. Oh, yeah, we had the review up so fast.
Good. You got to be on it.
It was excellent. So that's pretty much all the Game of Thrones news we got. Lena Headey is going to be in a He-Man Masters of the Universe show on Netflix.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, there was like a huge like casting list. I think it was like Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
and some other
it's everybody
too.
It's like Mark Hamill and like Sarah Michelle Gellar, like lots of people. Which, by the way, it's an animated show. Do you like? I feel like at the Dark Crystal was like that too. Like here's a lot of famous people like voicing little puppet folk.
Yeah.
Like, is that a waste? To like have all that huge talent for an animated thing? Is that why you watch an animated movie? Do you go for the stars?
I mean, as an adult, maybe it's a bonus perk. I mean, for kids, I'm sure means nothing
I mean,
to
look,
them.
you saw the Sonic movie over the weekend. Did
Yeah.
you go because it was Sonic or because James Marsden was in it?
Okay, that's a tie question. It's a trick question
Maybe
because I
it
love
was.
Sonic and I love James Marsden.
Fair
So,
enough.
but I mean, yeah, I really don't know. I think maybe more so for the adults. It's like if you're gonna watch an animated film or something with puppets in it, at least it has Mark Hamill. That's probably all I can think
This is
of.
kind of off topic, but I think that studios could have a lot of money if they just like Frozen. It's a
Yeah.
giant franchise. Was it Idina Menzel, Adele Dazeem a name? Like, no, she wasn't. But the movie was good and attracted people.
Yeah.
I think that people. I think like ever since Aladdin with Robin Williams, it's like kind of spiraled out of control.
Ooh.
But really different topic.
Ooh,
Quick
where's
club
the
discussion
essay?
somewhere. Oh, it's all over the place. Ooh, after the last He-Man, I am so turned off, says Sherry. I don't recall the last He-Man. I never really watched He-Man, honest to God. But good for
Yeah.
Lena Headey for getting work.
I guess.
That I am very pro. Super pro getting work for Lena Headey. One thing I am excited to see is we're getting more and more images of upcoming shows, including The Wheel of Time on Amazon, which I'm like halfway through the first book now.
Good, you're making progress.
Yeah, that's 1/28th through the series. I'm very excited about that. I will say I've loved the way that they are rolling out images and sneak peeks of this show, though.
Yeah.
So The Wheel of Time, for those of you who don't know, giant, huge fantasy series. Robert Jordan died 11 books in. Brandon Sanderson picked up the slack, finished it. 14 books, one of the longest series of all time. Very, very, very popular. Very, very, very big. Certainly the potential to be a great entertainment. I was going to say game changer. I'm not sure it's really going to game change because it's sort of, I mean, it's very
Yeah.
fantasy. It is like
Yeah.
a fantasy story.
Yeah.
It's like got 2/3 Lord of the Rings, some original ideas, and it's just that's what it is. But it is well done, and it could be
Okay.
huge.
Yeah, I bet
and we
it
have
could,
a
yeah.
picture
Ooh,
here
let us see.
from the Wheel of Time set day one. Okay, now, Mia, since I'm reading, I know what this is now.
I'm looking, yeah.
So this is the village of Emmons Field, where our journey begins. Where there are a bunch of, it's very Lord of the Rings. It starts out, it's the Shire basically,
I got it.
where it's kind of a bucolic fantasy backwater, very peaceful, very calm. But you know what?
What?
Then darkness comes knocking.
Oh no.
Bad things come to
No.
it. In Lord of the Rings, Gandalf brings the ring, and then the ring blades come, and it's all messy. In this, I'm not going to spoil it, but other bad things come to the town, and the innocence, it's spoiled.
Ooh.
And the characters have no choice but to go on a grand epic adventure around the world to learn about themselves, learn about the real meaning of friendship and truth and beauty and crap like that, and maybe just change the course of history.
Ooh.
I'm talking like it's glib, but I think that most fantasy stories are like that, where you can describe them like that, but once
Yeah.
you're in them, and you love it, which I do. I am enjoying it, by the way. I honestly am. There's something kind of comforting about like a meat and potatoes fantasy story like that,
Yeah.
where you have like your cast of young ingenues who are being swept away by the story bigger than they are, and encountering like magic and running from orcs and just going on a grand adventure. There is something transporting to me about that.
I think so. It's kind of like just sort of a fundamental building block of storytelling. I'm like looking at this village. Is it so? Would you say, because like with the Shire, I suppose you've got like the rolling.
It's completely the Shire.
Okay. No need to even inquire even further.
I mean, you
But-
can, but like, look, it's the Shire.
Yeah.
Like Emmons Field
Well-
is the starting village.
Well,
it's the
when
first
we
village
see
in the
Hobbit,
RPG.
when we see Hobbit holes, then we'll know. Like, uh-oh.
It's not like that.
Okay.
Like, they live in houses.
Okay.
As Sherry says, there was some money into this, which they did. Oh, God. I mean, yeah. This is the proving ground.
Yeah.
If this show takes off, basically, the fantasy revolution on TV continues.
Yeah.
If it doesn't,
So,
it's over.
so this is kind of like the last stand. Amazon is like, all right, we're kind of on the battlefront here. We're on the line.
They really are. And I'm looking forward to it. Although, again, The Witcher has taken off. So
That's
really,
true, yeah.
things are continuing
Yeah.
apace. I'm looking forward to
It's
that.
kind of interesting, yeah. I think just by like word of mouth, like saying like, oh yeah, this is really big. Like people will just probably tune in just because people are constantly talking about it. with like The Witcher.
But Julie says that she's halfway through the second book. I may have missed something. Are you reading Wheel of Time, Julie, or is that Outlander, or which book series are you through? Because I'm still on the first book. Louise says they have hairy feet. They don't. They're just human beings. They're not.
Okay.
They're not literal
not
hobbits.
A complete ripoff.
I'm saying like the structure is very similar. It's starting to kind of get a little different now, but I'm like halfway through. But like the first part, yeah. And Sherry asks, where do they film it? I'm not really sure. Europea, somewhere in there.
Yeah, of course.
So looking forward to that. Very excited for it. I really am. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Speaking of anticipated series, I want to get your opinion on this. Okay. So there was a new promo for the fourth, right? Yeah, fourth season of Netflix's Stranger Things, which is a celebrated 80s homage sci-fi romp about kids in a fictional 1980s Indiana suburb or small town beset by interdimensional monsters. And we got a new teaser for it that may have given away a little too much. If you haven't seen it, there are some pretty major spoilers in here, although it is official. They released this onto the internet.
They were like, hey.
So they want you to know. But okay, that's your spoiler warning. Let's roll the clip.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so big points first. Okay, I guess my big question for you and for people out there, Sherry loves Stranger Things. I do too. I really enjoy Stranger Things. I can't find I'm sure I could find something to criticize about if I tried, but it's definitely a fun watch.
Yeah.
So the big thing about the end of the last season was that Sheriff Hopper, who's played by David Harbour, that's right, dies. They go under the mall. They go underneath the Starcourt Mall. There's a fight with some Russian insurgents who are trying to break the dimensional wall, as they do.
Yes.
And he dies in an explosion. And they write like a letter to the dead. It's a whole thing. So the fourth season is still, we're not really sure how much away. Like maybe later this year, maybe early next year. And they're already giving it away. He ain't dead. He in a chain gang in Russia. Is that a good move to just give this away so far in advance?
I actually think that when it comes to something like this, I feel like a lot of people were kind of skeptical.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, did we really see him die? I was like, just going over it today, it's like Joyce pulls the lever or whatever to make the machine do what it has to do. It blows up. We see some of like the monsters disintegrate, but we don't really see Hopper disintegrate or blow up. So it was one of those things like, how do you survive that? But also a lot of people are kind of skeptical anyway. So I think it's fine for them to say, yeah, he didn't really die.
I mean, yeah, it's not like they're playing completely unfair. I mean, I analogize it to the famous "Is Jon Snow dead?" debacle after season 5 of Game of Thrones. Where in that one, they show him getting stabbed the house down boots, and then he like falls in the snow, bleeds out. And like they established, this dude is dead.
And was it Entertainment Weekly that had the cover that was like he's alive, or did that come after?
I'm sure it came after because they were dead set on keeping that secret.
Okay. I knew there was something that was like really big, and it was just kind of like, ooh, why would that
Maybe
happen?
It's that like they saw that kind of thing happen, and we're like, it's just not worth it. Like everyone knows they're gonna come back.
I know I always draw these things like Marvel and Infinity War, but like when they were like, oh yeah, they're snapped away and they're all dead at the end. It's like, but they're not. They're not. We know it.
But I mean, in that case too, they didn't hint at anything, right?
No, they didn't. And to me, it was kind of like, I don't know. They're like, oh, you fool. Like,
oh, you fool. No
like if only you knew, but I do.
I'm surprised that they would be so bald about it. I mean, bald pun, as Louise said. He's bald and without doing some cigarettes. He gonna get ripped on that chain gang. Yeah. Oh, and he did get ripped for that Hellboy movie. That's how they'll justify it.
Yes.
Because David Harbour has a new, like, hot body.
He
and
does.
he's supposed to be like a fat dad
He's
bod
got to
kind
be
of guy.
like in Black Widow movies, so he's really got to keep that body.
And they're gonna have to say like, how did Hopper get ripped?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been taking
swinging
away
the
all
hammer.
swinging a hammer. He only has like a Russian ration a day to
Yeah.
eat, which is just some frozen cabbage, and so he's gonna get naturally ripped.
Speaking
I'm
really
calling that.
big.
That's a good idea. Remember in Parks and Recreation where Chris Pratt slimmed down for Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they said like, I just stopped drinking because he was like formerly fat and now he's like slim and awesome looking, and like what the hell happened? This makes more sense.
If they haven't written that into the script, they kind of needed to already, unless he's just going to wear a really
I think
big,
they will.
bulky
I'll bet
jumpsuit.
any of you $5.
Yeah.
As
Let's see
Sherry
what it-
asks, is it really him or a clone?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's got to be him, right?
Yeah, I feel like there was one thing we had somebody do like a theory story for us, and they were like, well, maybe Russians also found like maybe like an alternate dimension or something like that, where they've like pulled a Hopper from another dimension. It's like,
And
that's,
immediately put him on a chain gang.
it's like that seems like a lot of work. Another one though, another plausible theory he had was maybe they're holding Hopper prisoner. Like the Russians are holding him prisoner in exchange for like maybe the American government needs something. So they'll like maybe work out an exchange. They can get secrets. They can do something, but you know,
As Louise says, wasn't there a scene at the end of the last series where they were talking about the American? Why would they want him? They were talking about the American. I'm sure it's him.
yeah,
Why would they want him? I mean, I guess he is like
some sort of
among like
collateral
10
or-
people who
yeah.
have had pretty close contact
Yeah.
with the whole upside down alternate dimension stuff. He's not a scientist, but he has more expertise than most people out there because he'd been to the other side and he survived. And he come back and he fought things and he done stuff
Yeah.
and he can tell them things. I mean, whenever they revive like a character who we were thought to think is dead, or in Jon Snow's case actually did die, I always think a little bit like, is it worth the narrative capital you have to expend? Because like when you
Yeah.
kill a character, you are asking the audience to mourn this character. Like you've taken a step. Like you know, you were attached to this person and then they die. That's a big emotional thing for you to go through.
Yeah.
And they put 11 through it. Like she had a whole thing where like she was
Yeah,
crying
yeah.
reading this letter. It was a big emotional moment. Like, does it cheapen all that stuff to just
You
bring
know,
it back?
I wrote something similar to this effect recently because there was a big debate about Guardians of the Galaxy, and somebody had asked if Yondu was going to come back. He was the blue guy with like the mohawk. They were
Oh,
going to
yeah, I remember
ask
Yondu.
if he was coming back. Somebody
We're
tweeted
puppets.
James Gunn, and he was like, no, because I feel like that would like, you know, I'm like mixing three words at once. Null or kind of void his sacrifice and what he did. And it's like, yeah, you've got a point.
I think totally that point.
Yeah, to think that, I don't know. Yeah, it kind of does soften the blow. It softens that impact. Star Wars did it a ton of times, so
Comics do it
comics
all the time.
do it. So it's like it is to be expected in a way, but yeah, I don't know how to feel.
I think it's something you can do judiciously, but you have to be careful. Like Game of Thrones killed a lot of characters.
Yeah.
So like you can probably get away with bringing one back, which they did.
Yeah.
Technically, they brought back two with
Yeah.
Noah Baratheon. So that's my thought on that. But
And you know what? They do have other characters too, like Billy.
Oh,
Joyce's
Billy.
boyfriend from the other one. The
Oh,
nice,
right.
The nice guy at the radio. Was it? No, he plays.
I mean, Sam
Yeah,
from Lord of the
Sam.
Rings, but Sean Astin.
Yes.
I think it was Bob.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
Like
I
a
don't
Bob
remember.
or Jim kind of guy.
That's true.
Yeah,
But I mean,
so-
this is a big one,
Yeah.
and as long as they do it well, I'll be on board. But I think it's a hard thing to do really
Yeah.
well.
And you know what? The other thing could be that they might want to drive conspiracies. Conspiracies keep your show alive, it keeps the movies alive. So I bet now they're like, ooh, now we really know Hopper's alive. So how did he do it? How did he, you know? So everybody can be like flooding Reddit and putting in all their theories and getting them free press and
They
all that.
can, but I mean, like they're kind of exchanging like the flood of theories about is he alive at all for theories about how is he alive. I mean,
There
like
will
they're not
be
really
people.
gaining anything.
There will be people. Well, yeah, I get what you're saying here. Yeah.
Oh, but before we move on, we have to mention one of the Russian guards was
Oh, yeah.
Tom Walaschha. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Who
yeah.
was Jack and Hagar on Game of Thrones. Arya's very man of few words, speaks in the third person. A girl is no one. A girl does this. A man does this. Master at the House of Black and White.
Yeah.
Again, good for him getting work.
Yeah,
I assume he has a speaking part if they're
Yeah,
zooming
that's
in
a
his face
pretty
during the
big,
trailer.
I would not have recognized him with like the little mustache.
I
and the-
just, because I spent
in
way
the
too much
hit.
time
But
looking
no,
at
yeah.
people's faces. I was like, yep, that's the dude. All right. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I hope it comes out this year. I mean,
Yeah.
if they already have clips, you'd figure they're at least got to be
They've
part of the
got
way
a
there.
little something. They're filming. They're working on it. Somebody had mentioned they were like the last 2 seasons were kind of like holiday episodes or seasons.
Yes.
It's like Halloween, a little bit of 4th of July.
Arbor Day.
And then they were like at the end of the last season, Mike mentioned something to Eleven about like meeting them for Christmas or coming back because she's moving away. So they're like, what if it comes out this Christmas or later this year? And I was like, I'm all on it. So
Yeah, that
maybe
makes sense.
later this year or early next
One
year.
more comment from Louise. I think it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
At least with Jon Snow, they kept us waiting for the second episode in the next series and not let it out in the trailer. Which, I mean, frankly, I kind of agree with, but
Yeah.
we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah.
I think maybe it is like they did the Jon Snow strategy. We got to do something new. Let's just be out with it. Okay. Other big reveals this week were Robert, I'm a Sparkly Vampire Pattinson, made his debut in a little, not even a teaser,
Yeah, it
a
was a
screen
test
test
footage, yeah.
for The Batman. So here's Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah,
Our first look at it. Ah. By the way, our Richard, who produces the show, lightened that footage so we could actually see some. 'Cause
Yeah.
they released it like real dark.
Yeah.
They don't want you to see nothing.
It's a strain. You're like, is that Batman? I think it is.
Is that Batman or a cloud? I cannot tell.
We
in
didn't
the
have the
dark.
audio to listen to this, but I just know from I've like looped it like 100 times. I was like, I love that music. It's just kind of like something you can march into. And
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Batman for me, the look of it, the most important thing is the jaw. And I think he has a razor sharp jaw that looks good under a Halloween costume mask.
yeah, I think it's kind of it's fitting. It looks good. It's just kind of hard to like at first imagine like Edward Cullen being Batman, but then when you actually see him kind of like filling out the suit, and obviously it was really like just kind of like a top up sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, the most important part is like what's going on here. That's Batman. So I kind of like it.
By the way, Terry says, I saw someone say he was a bad vampire. It took him 11 years to turn into a bat, which is pretty funny. I actually think that he's a pretty good and smart actor. Like, he worked for a long time after Twilight to kind of do more serious parts and like he was in like Cosmopolis, David Cronenberg. He was in like these smaller dramatic roles.
Yeah.
Like he tried to get away from that for a while.
And I think he really knows, he was conscious of that. And like I've heard things where he was like, yeah, he kind of disagreed with like some of the directing in like Twilight, and he wanted to be he's a professional actor, and I think he deserves to have that kind of respect.
Yeah, like he was in The Lighthouse, which I thought was a great performance. I mean, actors get their start in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't even hate Twilight. I think Twilight's fine. But I mean, it's not like, it's not high art or anything. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you can be in a stupid movie. I think the problem was that Twilight was just such a huge mega phenomenon.
Yeah.
That it was like, it's kind of hard to kind of like wipe that stain off. So, but I think, again, he's doing a really good job. It's been at least, like 10-ish?
It's got to be about that, yeah.
10-ish, at least 10 years since it came out. So
yeah. I feel bad calling it like a stain. Like, honestly, if you like Twilight, like Twilight.
Of course, yeah. No, I love.
Thing.
Well, here's the thing. Also, because I was a middle schooler, so it was like, yeah, this is definitely my thing. So, not to say it's a huge, like a stain or anything like that, but not the most distinguished works.
It's not something you want to be associated with the rest of your career.
Right,
And I think he did a good job of carving out a place for himself as like an actor to take seriously.
Yeah.
Not just let's cast the hunky daywalker vampire guy. As Louise asks, who are the villains for the Batman? Anyone know? We do. I like the new back to basics look better than nipples in a bat suit, which is always they're never getting past that in Batman and Robin, are they? Yeah, there are a lot of villains. We got Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. We got Paul Dano as the Riddler, and we got the Penguin, who is someone.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, there we go, Colin Farrell, who doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but sure.
Let's see.
Hot
And then
Penguin.
Jeffrey Wright is Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like a pretty stacked cast.
Yeah.
Honestly, that sounds kind of dicey to me. Like all those villains in one place. Like I haven't seen the script, but it already sounds overstuffed.
It's a lot. Yeah, it sounds like a lot. I mean, yeah. No, to be fair, they've kind of like gone back and forth. But usually there's like one big villain and then small kind of like, I'm thinking like the first one where they kind of had like Scarecrow, but he wasn't really Scarecrow.
Right.
You know, having like, I think all the Batman movies have kind of like melded into one for me, so I can't tell apart like whatever Riddler was in versus Mr. Freeze versus Poison Ivy.
Look, if I had my complete way, I would just say maybe no Batman movies for 10 years.
Oh no.
But I know that's not going to happen. So here, in fact, my fear / hope / just kind of what I think will happen is this. I think they want to start like, I'm sorry to say this, I think they want to start like a Batman shared universe thing. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to go for. I think some of those villains might show up in like just like in cells in Arkham Asylum as they pass. And it's going to be like, oh, the Penguin setting up for his movie 2024.
Which is essentially what Sony is doing with Spider-Man. They're like planting all these little seeds and like, here's Morbius, but it's also going to connect to Venom and then there might be Spider-Woman, and then there might be da-da-da. So it's kind of like, even though you have like the DCEU or the MCU, they're still like, and then we're going to branch away and make this other little, superhero universe, which I'm not opposed to it as long as they do it right. I would love to see
that is true.
Good Batman lore, good exploration of all the villains and characters.
I do sigh a little bit at all these attempts to monopolize my time. But yeah, I of course, if it's done well, of course it's good.
Yeah.
As Louise says, Colin Farrell's the Penguin, now that I have to see. I do too. I'm curious to see that.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll pull it off. Universal said that they are officially done with the Dark Universe. Remember that thing for a second?
Yeah.
They wanted to have a shared universe featuring such favorites as like the Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein's monster and Dracula and the Invisible Man and the Mummy. And that did not work. So they abandoned that thing. There can't be too many of those, and they're all going to be successful. I just don't think it's a reasonable goal. But I mean, people love Batman, and I know they're not going to stop doing it. So
that's hard
most I can hope for is a good one.
Yeah.
And it does look good. I do like him. I hope it'll be good. I wonder if he will take over for the Super League
or the Justice League.
Yeah, possibly.
I think they're gonna.
I think Cavill's out.
Yeah, they're gonna take a step away from Justice League. I think it might be a long time before we see that again, just because it was just such a bomb. But I mean, they'll group up. They have to group up eventually again. Somebody's got to do it.
But yeah, like take your time. If you want to do it, just like let it happen. Not like what they did before, and it was like, I'm for Superman. Then Justice League, just get to it. It did not work.
Let's go.
All right.
Well.
Moving on, we got one other big topic I wanted to hit on.
Yeah.
Speaking of. Well, it doesn't work. No, HBO Max is going to be a new streaming service.
Speaking of WB Warner Brothers superheroes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect. I was thinking of like shared universes of streaming. No. Okay, yeah, that's way better. So we already have, Netflix. Mm-hmm. We got Hulu. We got Disney Plus now. We got Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
I think Kiwi is going to be out in a second if it isn't
Kiwi's
already.
coming slowly but surely.
Peacock's on the way. The next big streaming service is HBO Max, which is Warner Media's play for this. They released a teaser. I say we watch it, and I have some nervous thoughts about it to get out.
Oh, look, he's opening his eyes. Oh, hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hey, dudes. Hey.
Welcome to the real world.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
I'm Batman. He's looking at you, kid. Behave.
All right. My question for you and for everybody out there
Yeah.
is, are you ready for another streaming service in your life? Especially one that is, I think, the most expensive of any of them. That's
Yeah.
$15 a
Yeah.
month for that. But you get to watch Game of Thrones and Casablanca whenever you want. Like, is that enough to sway anybody out there?
To me, that just felt like a commercial of just like so many different things. Like Disney Plus made sense because Cinderella and Moana, they're all Disney, and like
It's
Star
harder to be
Wars and
under that.
Marvel. Like to see, was that Crazy Rich Asians? I think that was Warner Brother.
I think so.
That Batman Lego movie, okay,
Sure.
but Friends,
Big Bang Theory, Game of
and it's like,
Thrones. I think Euphoria was in there.
it's like, oh wow, this is certainly a mix, and it kind of makes me feel like if I just wanted to watch either one of these movies, God forbid, I just go and rent it for 24-hour rental,
Right.
online, which I did for Parasite. I forgot to mention I did.
Oh, did you watch it?
I loved it.
Wasn't it good?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
So it's kind of like it kind of takes away the fact that I could just kind of like watch these things independently, but I think it has to pay off. Like, am I gonna watch $15 worth of content or movies? Like, how many times do I have to see Crazy Rich Asians to break even? Which I would watch over and over again. So
I haven't
maybe
seen that one. I know I should.
I love it.
Especially when there are already a lot on the market already.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I already have like 4 streaming services. I can't afford another one. I mean, I probably could if I really stretched, but I'm not sure there's enough there to justify, especially like a high price. I don't know what they're thinking charging that much money
15 is
this
a
late in the
lot. I was
game.
like, oof.
Like,
Yeah.
didn't Netflix like increase theirs to 15 at one point? Like immediately backpedaled because nobody liked it and they all hated it.
Yeah. 15. I don't remember it being that.
I mean,
but
technically,
maybe,
it's
I know
$29.
they've raised, but yeah, that 15 just seems like a lot out the gate, and I'm like, and to me again, it just seemed like there's so many different random things that
I mean,
it's like
I like variety. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
for Disney Plus, I got it for Mandalorian, and I love Mandalorian.
Uh-huh.
But, like, I'm in my 30s. I don't watch a lot of Disney movies anymore.
what?
I mean, like, I haven't touched the thing except for, like, The
just put me
Simpsons
to shame, no.
occasionally. And, I mean, it's fine if you do love
Yeah.
it. If I had a kid, I would use Disney Plus all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched it. I think I would actually like the programming on HBO Max. It looks like there's a nice variety to watch.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't know if it's worth the investment.
I
By the
think-
way, our commenters are getting us firm no's on whether it's worth
Yikes,
it.
no.
Diane
Yes,
and
the Snyder Cut, Sherry said.
Sure. Oh, Snyder Cut, absolutely. To Louise's question, yes, there are going to be some new shows on there.
Yeah.
But that's another problem because, like, when Disney Plus launched, like, I knew, they're launching with The Mandalorian. They're launching with, like, these other
Yeah,
new
the strong
shows.
lineup, yeah.
Like, I know that HBO Max does have original shows in the works. Like, I don't know if they're going to launch with them. If they are, I don't know which ones they're launching.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're coming along.
Yeah.
And besides, like, Dune the Sisterhood, I couldn't really name which ones are coming. They have a lot in the works. It's like Ellen has a show that's coming, and there's some, like, reality shows, and there are fictional shows. There's some cool-looking stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think it's been marketed well.
It hasn't. It really hasn't. Like, I haven't seen. It's hard because, like, yeah, we're kind of in this every day, so I know that it's coming. But, like, to anybody outside of this situation, it's like, hey, did you know HBO Max is happening? And we're like, what is that? Like HBO plus, like, I get some extra movies or
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, honest to God, like, as I understand it, and I'm not sure I completely understand it, I still think that HBO Max coming out, HBO Go and HBO Now are still going to be things.
Yeah.
Even though I think, like, most or all HBO content will be in HBO Max. So why do you still have that in any way?
Yeah, because usually with HBO, like, let's just say, aside from originals, like a film, they get the rights to the film and kind of like Netflix.
Sorry, never mind, go on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and it's
Terry Spencer, there
there,
you go, yeah.
and then it's on there for a set amount of time, and it goes away. But like, so Warner Brothers movies they get to keep because they're part of Warner Media, but then movies from other studios, like I can't think of off the top of my head, those are only there temporarily. And so I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's kind of like, yeah, what content is staying, what content is going, what stays on HBO, what stays on HBO Max. It's like, oh boy, that's a lot.
The messaging has not been really clear.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, with you and everybody else out there, I'm afraid this is going to tank.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a possibility. Like, I like South Park. They have all the Hayao Miyazaki movies. I love
that's
Princess
right,
Mononoke.
yeah.
I love Spirited Away. Those are all great.
Yeah.
I mean, Friends, I can leave or take Friends at this point. I'm more of a Seinfeld guy, so I'll watch that when it comes on Netflix. I love Game of Thrones. And there are HBO shows that are great,
Right.
but I already have HBO Go. So,
Yeah.
like,
so
I don't know if I
what
need it.
more do I need?
So I'm concerned. It's coming out in May. May when?
Yeah. May
Doesn't
question
say.
mark.
It just said streaming in May.
Yeah.
Doesn't even say when. So I'm worried for you, Warner Media. Get it together.
Yeah.
Cut the price by like 2/3.
Yeah.
$5. Or I think you're going to be dead in the water. I might be doomsaying here, but I'm honestly a little afraid for it. And finally,
Oh,
I mean,
what
on
do we have left?
a happier note,
Yes.
anything new or that you're watching or something that you're continuing to watch that you want to
Well-
sound off on for a second?
If I can go back to my Disney
Sure.
plus for a minute. So do you know, because I mentioned this before, what Disney Fairy Tale Weddings is?
You have.
I've talked
Well,
about it.
I don't remember actually.
But okay. Well, if we like fantasy, this is fantasy adjacent. But no, it's basically it's one of their newer series. It came out on Valentine's Day, which is really sweet. And it's like a real life thing. They have two couples every episode typically. And they just follow these people as they're going about having like the most perfect Disney wedding. So it's either like at a Disney park
Okay.
or at one of the resorts. I'm
So
losing
like,
Dan.
no, it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to picture like what that means. Like,
So it's,
that's cool. So at a
it's-
park or a resort,
right?
It's
so
is it like Disney cosplay wedding where like I'm
no,
Ariel
it's
and I'm
like a
married on this rock?
legit wedding, but on the backdrop of like Cinderella's castle, or like
That's cool.
they have nice rooms, like a nice chapel, or like the Hawaii resort, things like that. So it's either a wedding, you follow the wedding planning up to the wedding, or you follow the proposal. So like
that's
like
cute.
the husband or fiance was planning like a surprise Hawaii, big like surprise, and the family's all there. So it's really sweet. I cried so many times watching it. So that's that. And as an update for everybody, I'm gonna catch up on Doctor Who because we're 2 episodes away from the finale.
Yeah, let's next
So that's
week.
gonna be really big. There's a whole plot line about like the Cybermen coming back, and this whole like timeless child thing, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around. And actually today, Chris Chibnall, the showrunner, was like, it's going to be like this really
Off the
big...
hook.
Yeah, he was like, you're going to need a drink. Your mouth is going to be open. It's going to be jaw drop. I was like, oh, I really need to watch this.
That'd be
then.
cool.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this season.
Yeah.
Next week could be a good time for that.
So look forward to that. I'm looking forward
How
to
about Westworld? Still watching that?
it. Westworld, yes. I've been doing it slowly but surely. I'm making sure. But this one I actually like, though. So I'm like, there's no way I'm jumping out of this
All right.
one. Yeah.
We'll check in when you're through with that.
Yes.
Diane says that Zoe's Incredible Place is a fun new musical comedy on NBC. I have heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
Gives people's private thoughts on musical numbers. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I haven't watched it, but I am down for any all musical, all the time shows.
Yeah.
That wedding thing sounds like a part of the wedding industrial complex to me, but I'm happy people are enjoying it.
You're saying this to the person who loves Say Yes to Dress, Say Yes to Dress Atlanta, Say Yes to Dress England. But yeah.
And this to the person who thinks that the English crown should be overthrown and weddings abolished. We should all get married at the courthouse and not spend a lot of money on that. That's just wasted. Put it towards education in your 401k.
It is a to each his own. I had to.
My dream wedding is
Yes.
a courthouse and then a nice honeymoon. I'm not kidding.
That's true. You should be able to spend a lot of money, like enjoying yourself
I don't-
afterwards.
I don't want a wedding. I don't want a reception. I want a honeymoon.
Yeah.
I want that to be nice.
so no
and
cake.
expensive.
I woke up literally.
But the party, I don't give crap.
I stopped watching like I was like, I had to stop watching the news in the morning. I was like, it's too much for me to watch. I'm the news 24/7 anyway. So I watch now like the cooking channel or something. So this morning, actually, it was a show where they were just like tasting cakes and finding, that was like the whole show. I was like, oh, wow. But I was so into it.
That sounds nice. I'm into cooking shows.
Yes.
Really quick.
All right, what are you into?
I haven't watched Oak Island. I'm so sorry. I've got to freaking watch Oak Island. What is it on? Okay, as God is my witness, I will watch an episode of Oak Island. I don't know exactly when, probably not by next week, but it's going to happen. And Louise Piper agrees me with the royal family.
The wedding thing sounds surreal.
Go on to Wit Club. We'll get some thoughts about that. I'm not much. Avenue 5 still kind of underwhelming me. The Outsider is getting really good. It's about to
good.
wrap
At least
up.
you've got something. Yeah.
It's been fun. Curb Your Enthusiasm I'm watching. That's always a fun one. And I'm getting back into Schitt's Creek after like hearing how good it is for like years.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it's the Canadian, yeah.
Yes, yes it is.
Yeah, Levy.
Eugene Levy. It's a whole Levy family. It's like him and his son, his daughter. Nepotism. But it's funny, and it's starting to get good. I kind of like wasn't loving it for the first 2 seasons, but people kept telling me
I hear a lot
watch
of
it.
good things about it.
And yeah, it's ramping up, so that's good.
All right.
Lodge 49. Yeah, watching that too. I also want to watch The Righteous Gemstones on HBO.
Oh yeah.
Which is about like a mega church, which sounds like a really good. Oh, I watched Secession. I finished it. Really good. That show was great.
So you caught
Season
up
2,
on everything.
yeah.
Oh, ooh.
That show was excellent. That definitely lived up to the hype. Like I heard a lot about it beforehand. Like you gotta watch Secession. Yeah, it was terrific.
Oh, gosh.
Very drama, comedy, intense, character-driven stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of loved it.
Ooh.
So I'm on board with that. It's Game of Thrones, but it's just the Lannisters, and they're in modern times.
Yeah, News Empire or whatever that is.
I'm all over it. And Lodge 49 is on my list too, but it's going to be hard. Inside Number 9, I haven't even heard of that.
Inside Number 9.
Okay, a new thing to look up. Anyway, we back next week, Wednesday, here at 4 Central Standard Time on the Westman Facebook page. In the meantime, if you want to go on iTunes and give us 11 billion stars and give us a positive review, that'd be great. We're also going to do more Wick Club episodes. If you buy a Winter is Coming t-shirt, you get into the Wick Club. We have extra articles, extra episodes. I think we're going to talk about video game movies this month.
Fun one. I'm so excited.
I'm enjoying that. And also monthly prize giveaways. And that's that.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. See you then, people. Bye-bye.
Bye.